guys, it's Caleb, back again with more bad fanfiction theater, and we still have a guest.
Hi!
Hushicho's back with us.
That's right.
And we're still on the same site as Root Her. We're going to read something we hope is more funny and hilarious.
And I wanted to say, before we start on this, well, it's sort of a public service announcement, because we don't want to offend anyone, and we don't want any of our viewers to be, literally offended by language that we use or language that's in the story. I usually try and skip over anything that's too offensive. And, in past I've skipped over stuff when I've seen it and just gone, no, I'm not going to read that. This is a brief story, and the title is Trani-Saurus Rex. Now, tranny is one of those terms where it can be used in a sort of funny, friendly way, especially between drag queens, which for years it's been used that way. But it can also be used as a kind of, well, depending on who you say it around, depending on, the motivation behind your saying it, depending on your intent, and a lot of other things, it can be very, very offensive to transsexual people. So I wanted to say we're not intending to be offensive at all. This is a silly story with dinosaurs.
Yeah, so if there's anything offensive in the story, keep in mind it's not us, it's the story, and of course we'll point it out that that's kind of wrong and bullshit, as we always have.
Yeah, this is just a brief one-shot whatever story. We're not having high expectations, and we're just doing this for a chuckle. So please don't take this as us endorsing, language that can be offensive to people, because we're not trying to be offensive. So in case you've missed some of our previous things, and in case you are offended by the word tranny, we're not meaning it to be offensive. We're just reading a story, and that's where it ends.
On JamesLeffer.com, we are reading Tranny-Saurus Rex by Huntley Woods. I guess I'm starting?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. If you want to follow along, even though this thing is really short, there will be a link down in the description below. Muldoon, same guy as last story. Well, maybe it's written by since it's written by a different person, maybe it won't be that.
Yeah. Hopefully this takes a different direction than the last one we read with Muldoon.
Muldoon couldn't believe his luck. There he was in the jungle, staring down the barrel of his gun, ready to fire one off in the Raptor's eye, when a second emerged from the bushes on the left. She opened her jaw and dashed toward his face, but she wasn't about to eat his skull. Oh no, her mouth was wide open for another reason. For a French kiss! Yes, I'm sure that French kissing is the same for a dinosaur as it is for a human. I just see this raptor with her mouth open, and she's just got her huge tongue sticking out. She's just licking his face, and he's just kind of looking annoyed, like this isn't working.
Hey, give us a kiss. I'm a boyfriend now, Nancy.
Muldoon was caught in the middle of a wild raptor threesome. Because raptors are known for partaking in threesomes. With the new girl's tongue licking down his throat. I think your jaw would have been ripped apart had she done that. And his rifle fully locked and loaded. Which one? He fired off a huge shot. Again, which one?
Yeah,
Some
really.
of it landing on the other raptor and most of it landing on that creepy snake. Wait, what? On that creepy snake on the branch slithering by her eye.
What creepy snake would this be? The creepy voyeur snake?
Why would she even be that close to a tree, let alone with a snake there? What?
So we may or may not have just had a sex scene. We don't know.
Well, at least a makeout scene, and then he came because apparently it was so hot that he just came.
He then left to go back to the visitors' center, but ran into a nice surprise on the way. It was a juvenile T-Rex. Only it wasn't. Well, was it or wasn't it? Make up your damn mind. Like many,
it was a raptor. He couldn't tell the difference.
Like many of the other dinosaurs in the park, this one had spontaneously changed sex from male to female. A real-life Trani-Saurus Rex.
That's not
I
No.
think this was actually a part of Jurassic Park, though.
Yeah, that was a thing, a part of Jurassic Park, but I'm saying the Trani-Saurus Rex thing.
Yes,
I'm like, that's not exactly how. I don't think you understand how words work.
Yeah. She had on some hot red lipstick, 4-inch heels.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I was talking about this earlier. Yes,
And-
yes, this is
and-
the thing that's happening. Yes, yes.
And big gold hoop earrings.
Oh my God, yes.
This time, instead of hearing a roar, Muldoon heard her go, yeah. He could tell that she was into him, so he took her.
That's a T-Rex.
He took her by her tiny forelimb. He took her by her tiny forelimb and led her off behind the maintenance shed at the other end of the compound for a quickie.
Oh my God, yes. Yes, now this is more like it, and I wish it was longer.
Yeah, this was actually funny.
Oh, why couldn't this have been the main story? Oh my God.
Yeah, this obviously was not taking itself seriously. And I think that's what makes it so amusing. Although it was a bit vague and kind of needed tightening up, but obviously they didn't write this to be super duper serious business, so I enjoyed it. It was silly, suitably brief.
Yeah, I like it. It's fine. Not how tranny works, though. Somebody needs to look up word definitions or have it explained to them. But,
Well, I think it was trying to, well, in some ways, like, it did actually have some basis in the Jurassic Park story,
yeah,
which is more than I can say for the other one.
yeah.
And, you know, even though it was literally 2 paragraphs, it actually managed to bring up and touch upon a point that was actually in the book and film. So I can't really fault it for that. Although, yeah, I mean, they could have. But I think kind of like the other story, they just really wanted to make a word pun.
Yeah.
I really
But
think
I don't know. It doesn't really fit, though. I mean, I guess they were just like us and thinking about hooker T-Rexes, and and they were like, well, let's make a story out of that. And okay. Yeah, so that was a thing.
Yeah.
And it was much better than what we read a minute ago.
Yeah, I was actually going to say, we've read worse about 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, this is fun. This is adopting a cute bear cub fine, you know. It's okay. Not great, not fantastic, but it's okay.
It was, yeah, I mean, it's really too brief to be horrible and too brief to be brilliant, but it was amusing.
Well, I'll say this. There's probably nothing that's too brief to be horrible. If somebody really, really tried.
Yeah, you're probably right. But at least it would still have brevity going for it.
Yeah, it would be short and very much not sweet. And that would be the only thing we could be thankful for.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to say?
You know, I thought it was amusing, so I'm glad to end our session today reading on a positive note. And
Yes.
This would have been preferable, more amusing, definitely, than Root Her was, and it seemed to have more of a ring of authenticity.
You know, every time you say root her, it sounds like you're saying Ruto.
Don't bring her up.
I know, but it sounds like that's what you're saying every time you say root her.
Don't do that. I don't want to think about Root Her. I haven't been able to play Zelda games for months now. Like every time.
For good reason.
Every time I think about it, I've got an half-finished Zelda game here that I have not been able to finish. Because every time I think about it, I think, I'm not ready. Just not yet. I can't face Zelda again.
Well, that's why I've been holding off from doing any more Legend of Zelda stories for at least a year. So nothing Legend of Zelda from us for all of 2015, but once 2016 rolls around, we'll probably do some kind of Legend of Zelda story. Maybe. Depends on how we feel.
I seriously am just kind of like, just, my inner life, it's just...
Yeah, it was that bad.
It really was that bad. I never thought that I would be that a single story A single story. I mean, yes, it was long. It was ridiculously long, but like, I never thought that a single story and the experience of that could turn me so completely off anything. But I guess that goes to show, like, the power of fiction of any kind. Like, you know,
Yeah.
even if it's, you know, completely unofficial fan stuff, you know, you get through it. But like, unlike good fan fiction and good fan art and such, this was the opposite of giving us the drive to create something of our own, giving us the drive to play with the setting in our minds and make it what we wanted it to be. Instead, we did come up with better ideas, and it did inspire us in, you know, an unintentional roundabout way. But dear God, it was a horrible experience that you never want to duplicate, and you associate so much of that with the thing that it's based off of that whenever you see it, you know, it just pops into your head. So it's like, it's been months, it's been like almost a year since we really finished it, and I still haven't even listened to all of it.
Yeah.
I can
it's
only
like
take a little
23
bit.
parts, and I started uploading it in February, and we read from like January, maybe started in December, but I really remember like it was after Christmas when we started it. And so I think it was from January until March that we read that story, and it took us that long because we kept having all kinds of problems.
Yeah, well, it was a cursed story. I will not believe anything opposite. I know it was a cursed story.
Yeah, I agree too. I agree. There's no question about it. That story was evil. It was spite. It was complete spite.
It really was. It's not at all surprising that we are the only other people that actually ever read it.
Yeah, I forget who told me that. Somebody's like, you and, was it Man Without a Body, were the only people to read the whole thing and finish it. And I'm like, well, I don't blame them. Anybody who started it and just whipped out their cell bay and was like, nope, screw you.
Yeah, but no.
Yeah, but no.
As for Trani-Saurus Rex, very amusing. Thank goodness it was brief. It may not have been able to maintain the amusement factor if it had been as long as, say, Raptor. But given the option, I think it would have been more fun to have that story be the longer one and Raptor be the shorter one. Because Raptor basically just, all it had going for it were puns. And they were kind of, like some of them were better than others. Some of them were amusing, like the Velocigina and everything. And all in all, I think Raptor would have been a more fun story because it was more positive. Like there wasn't quite as much of the
it's just like he's there, and apparently dinosaur threesome's going on. So he's like, well, okay, sure.
Yeah.
And then he's like a transgendered T-Rex, and then like, okay, well, let's go fuck her for some reason. But okay, and then there you go. That's it.
Yeah.
So, I think that's all we can really say about this story. It was fine. You're not going to miss anything if you pass it up. If you want to send something funny and goofy to somebody,
that doesn't take a lot of their
this
time.
is okay.
Yeah.
What?
I mean, it would be something that would take someone a couple of minutes to read through. You know, it's no longer than a typical email.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, I found this. It's kind of silly and funny. Check it out. And then go about your day with it.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say?
No, I think I'm all right.
Okay.
I'm glad that we got to read a better story, you know.
Yes.
Close.
Usually what happens is we read, I like, well, that was kind of dumb. You want to read something else? Sure. That was worse.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I keep saying, you know, I'm really glad that we got a remotely pleasant story for our second story, because
yeah, I'm looking at these others, and I'm like, I kind of want to read the Velociraptor one, but I'm like, that probably will be heavily offensive to me. Maybe. Depending on what's actually in it.
Yeah, it depends on how they use that, so maybe you should skim over it or something, I don't know.
Yeah, but the others, I'm like, these might be more promising than the Raptor story. I'm Caleb.
And I'm Hushicho.
And this has been Bad Fanfiction Theater. Thank you for listening. Bye!
Bye!